So again, a very, very interesting topic, globalization. The world has become a much smaller place due to advances in technology. Therefore, you can travel all over the world and you can communicate with different parts of the world as well. I have friends that just returned from Africa and some lesser developed countries in Africa, and they said even in these areas that are very, very poor, people own cell phones, and again, many reasons for that. Cell phones have become far cheaper, especially in these countries where they don't have the existing infrastructure to support. Here in Canada, we've got to support all of these phone lines that we've put in, for example, or for the internet. Many of these countries don't have that. They don't have to support that, and they can put up cell phone towers very, very quickly and quite cheaply, and therefore cell phones can be much cheaper in these countries, and more people can afford them. So people all over the world now are communicating and doing business online through eBay. You can do business with you yourself can do business with different parts of the world. So as you go through this, consider how globalization affects you and what it really means and the different types of globalization. So everything from attending international sports, many of the multinational corporations that you maybe deal with or choose to shop with, and then a lot of the other things that you see constantly in the news right now is a great example. Trade agreements between two nations would be a great example for right now. Be sure to go through the globalization timeline and get an idea of the history with globalization, and you can click on each one of these boxes and it gives you a little bit of information about globalization from that time period, just to give you a bit of a background in history with globalization. Again, we're going to skip over the discussions for this particular activity just to get through it as quickly as possible. This book, The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman, a fantastic book, and he talks about how globalization has affected some of those things we mentioned earlier, like communication and travel. And he explains a little bit of the differences that occurred, or the changes that occurred in each era. Do make sure, again, you go through that just to get a bit of a history with globalization and how it's affected this world over time. So one example they give of globalization is just using shipping routes and countries that are economically linked because they're doing a lot of trade with each other. And they take a look at different types of globalization and links that countries have here as they measure a country's global social, political, and economic interactions. And how much interaction do they have with other countries in this world? So again, there is a bit of background knowledge as they go through, we go through the forces of globalization. How has it happened? Everything from the growth of multinational corporations. A great documentary, if you ever have a chance to watch it, is called The Corporation. And transportation and communication technology, and the impacts of this globalization on you specifically. And you can go through these and figure out which ones maybe apply to you directly, and you can see the impact on a daily basis. For now, the only thing that I want you to submit for this particular activity is Part A, my position on globalization. And I don't want you to write a formal essay. All I want you to do is fill in this template. By clicking on this link, this template comes up. You choose the position or question that you're going to choose to address, and just provide some proof to support your opinion. Okay, and then your conclusion. That's all you need to do for this. This first page right here, 3 points proof. What we're looking for is a little bit of proof of understanding. You've shown some understanding from the information presented throughout this activity. And again, that presentation of a logical argument, not based on emotion, but a logical argument that's based on facts and statistics to support your opinion. Okay? So again, just this template, choose one of these questions to address, and submit this template for the first part of this activity. There'll be more to come about this activity later, but that's all I'd like you to focus on at this point in time. Okay?